Welcome to another episode of Carpet Guys Vlog. And today I've got two jobs I'm going to show you a little bit of. This is job number one, which I was not able to film the work. You'll see why. But this was the one that I was going to post. Normally I post right during my lunch break, but oh my goodness, things didn't go the way I planned. So I went ahead and filmed my 1 o'clock job as well. So this was my 11 o'clock, and I got there. The person who was supposed to meet me there was not there. I couldn't get a hold of him for a payment. I did have a door entry code, so I did enter and take a look around, and eventually the person did call me. But you could see all the debris and like plastic caps and all kinds of stuff that you can't pick up in a vacuum. You literally have to either bend up and pick up each item one item at a time, or grab a broom and sweep it all up first, which I end up doing. And then this one, there was just a ton of cat hair. I had my rubber shoes on and I could slide them across the floor, and you could see tons of white cat hair. In fact, I'll show you in this video the walkthrough, one of the wall boards. All of the wall boards were just caked with cat hair. This was the entry. I had to clean this entry area and that rug before I could enter the home. And look at the staircase. So, and the gentleman was a really nice guy, so nothing against him. He just in a hurry to move and was not prepared. He did say he vacuumed up here, but I told him, well, I'm sorry, your vacuum must not be working. Lots of spills and stuff coming from the kitchen and obviously from outside. So I'll have to sweep up the foyer, clean that rug down there, then come in. You could see the major area there where they had a rug. This is an off-white, I think it's a nylon polyester blend. So it's only about a year old. But you can see the other thing that you guys hear me yapping about usually is if people aren't fully moved out. So they have stuff stored in the kitchen, stuff stored out on the porch, stuff stored in closets throughout the house. So what that means, and you can see it's raining, is when I'm done, they come in, who knows when, and they start walking all over the carpets to load up the remainder of their stuff in and out of the rooms, in and out of the closets. Tracking rain in, and then that's why I like to take a after photograph. Then when the property management company calls and says, hey, we got your receipt, carpets don't look clean, I say, okay, here's the pictures when I left the property. See the pencil there? Pencil, there was jewelry, all kinds of stuff. And again, no disrespect to the gentleman who was living here. He's a really nice guy. And I just never know who's going to walk, so I don't want to disrespect anybody, and I'm not giving names or addresses, but this just helps out my fellow carpet cleaning technicians. When you see something like this, it's good to point out. Now here's the dilemma I ran into. Because take a look at all this hair. This was all throughout, so I had to get my duster, dust the mop boards there, and then take a grout brush and pull all that crap out of the corners so that I could vacuum it up. So long process, and I knew it was going to take me at least 45 minutes to an hour, so I did charge him an additional $50 fee to vacuum, because I had to sweep, pick up, vacuum, edge, and the whole 9 yards. I vacuumed both directions. So that was that job. There's the final product. You could see the hallway there. There is a little bit of wear and tear. Came out good. And then this next picture, I actually was I have a carpet cleaning buddy out in Las Vegas, and he mentioned how straightforward and easy all his homes are. Look at this driveway. And I'll take another angle so you can see how steep it is. There's no way I could get down there. I had to park up on the street, which was fine, but I had actually taken this picture not for the video, but just to send to my buddy in Vegas so he could see what I deal with. Look at that steep. I mean, and it's raining. And my van's lightweight. I'm sure it would go down there, but I don't want to slide into the garage door. So that's how they are up here in the Northwest. It's kind of strange, but I do see a lot of steep driveways that sink down, or real high, tall ones. So here's the lower basement. Got all the hair out of there, got it cleaned up. I used, of course, the Koblentz. I used the Galaxy mop pads, which are those microfiber scrub pads. Loving those pads. One-step process. Just pre-spray. The scrub strips do the scrubbing, and the microfiber absorbs like crazy. And they definitely pick up the soil. And it seems like you can go longer distance. I can do 2 or 3 rooms with one side and then flip it over. Probably because it's encapsulation. And even if there was anything remaining, it would dry to a crystal powder or to a crystal and be vacuumed up. So that's the other part of the basement down there. And then I took a couple photos of the stairs. Again, the lighting's awful on this with that door open, but you'll see the second set of stairs where the door's open and the sun's shining directly on it. They did come out really nice. And of course, I would never leave a job that didn't come out nice. So let's take a look and see how they look. You see what I mean? When the light's shining in there, you can see looking good. A couple shadows where I need to brush it, but overall, I was very pleased with the results. Did take me almost an extra hour in here with all the vacuuming, as well as bringing in my shop vac to hand tool the staircase, which you guys saw in the walkthrough was terrible, and clean up that foyer area or the entry area. This was just a shot from the entry, kind of holding the camera through the gate area there so I could just get a shot of the living room. I had forgotten to take the photos, and I wanted to have those for reference. I actually take the photos before and after, and I save them to my Google Drive, and then Google Calendar. On the Google Calendar, you can attach photos from Google Drive. So I attach the photos. Then if anyone ever questions me and calls, I just pull up the appointment on my Google Calendar, and right there, bada boom, bada bing, I put notes down, and then I have photos so I could say, here's what it looked like when I left. And all those spots up there came out beautiful, looking fantastic. Again, I didn't get to show the work because I was going to be behind. I was like, oh man. But I thought I'd share that with you. Another job, I've been running into these where they're just not prepared. And I'm not a housekeeper, and my prices are not, I know some guys include the vacuuming. My prices are not set to where I have an extra hour at each job. I do a 9 o'clock, an 11 o'clock, and a 1 o'clock. So this was job number 2. That last one was my 11 a.m., which I usually film and post during my lunch break. But since I couldn't get any work, I figured I'd do my 1 o'clock job, show you what I got going on with that one. So just wanted to share that first one with you as well. Here's the walkthrough. This is a nylon carpet. There's the Galaxy pad. It's got the little pentagram thing on there, or a star, I should say. There's my Koblentz. And this is night and day. These customers moved what they wanted out. They pre-vacuumed. They read my frequently asked questions that I always ask people to be prepared for your appointment. They had the lights on. So vacuumed, furniture moved, lights on, a parking spot in the driveway. Beautiful. And then they walked me through, pointed out areas of concern, told me that I don't need to move any furniture, just work around it. So I mean, there you go. I didn't have to spend additional time. Koblenz does an incredible job. I love this machine, and of course that handle, some people chimed in and thought it was kind of goofy, which is fine. But for me, oh my gosh, I did my 3 jobs today with the Koblenz, and all 3 of them, I never had to bend down once just to flip the pads. I mean, I just slide the handle, and it's not a major modification, so I'm not modding the machine. You know, you buy the machine, you know, the way it comes, and that's just a lever down there, a handle lever that's optional with the machine. And all I did was put basically a handle, a mop handle, cut it and put it right over it. So if there's no bolts attached, if I want it off, I just slide it off, no big deal. And then the only other mod is, of course, the yellow handle there. That's not a big deal, that pops right off. So it's still a stock unit, and you know, the mods cost me, the handle's $9. The mop handle thing was an extendable pole. I think it was $7.99. I did cut it. You can look at my last video where I showed the modification. And of course I cut the wire. That sucker was really heavy. So, and doing residential work, if you do commercial work, you probably just keep that 50-foot cord on there. It's a 10 gauge, which is the fattest one you can get. I cut mine off and made a pigtail, and then I tested it with my my testing meter to see what the actual startup, the jolt was on it, and I could get away with using a 14 gauge extension cord. So I got a 25-foot. I bought an additional 15-foot because I found the 25-foot sometimes doesn't reach where I want, so I keep that in the truck. But again, those pads, they just, I mean, they clean and absorb like crazy. I don't know what I was thinking before. You know, I was always using Iron Man, and I'd get halfway through a room, flip it over, and do the other half, and you know, still, the Iron Men are great. I do get good results, but I'm just telling you, something about this pad so far is just amazing me. And the amount of soil you can see on the pads, you know, it doesn't show it as visibly as a white pad, but that little rim is white, a little stitching around it where they stitch that white seal around it. You can see that turns black when you flip it over, and then if you throw them in the washer, you'll see all the soil. Besides that, all my customers today that showed up or were there when I did the work commented and said, wow, it looks like new carpet, it looks fantastic. And you know, one of them said, wow, it took you a lot longer than the last guy, but now I can see why. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, the carpets came out looking like new, so obviously you spend more time, you know, on what you're doing. And I'm like, yeah, it just depends on the carpet cleaning person and what tools they're using, but yeah, it did come out nice. So I don't know, this Koblenz just, it's so smooth. You can set that yellow handle so that when you pull the lever and you lower it down, the nut hits the lever, and so basically you have the yellow handle set so that the position that you normally clean with is where you drop the handle, and it just stops right there. So no guesswork, you just boom, hit the handle, close the lever, good to go. I haven't ran into any situations where I was in a tight spot where I couldn't lower that arm. So that's a good thing. And I am using one hand and filming with the other. If I had two hands on the handle and had it tucked a little tighter in my waist, this machine has zero wobble, zero sounds, just incredible. And the Koblenz normally has it says 3/4 horsepower, 3/4 HP on the top where it's black right there. I think I mentioned my grandson and the little neighbor, where I had this machine. I was going to clean my house, and I had it out on my back porch, and they were messing around with, I don't know, beach shovels and toys, and I don't know why, they scratched the top of it, and then they started picking the sticker. So I just finished it off, pulled it off, and painted it black. So, in case you noticed that. So, and this, like I said, this job, night and day between being prepped. And I was saying, some guys, like Robin with OxyDry, he makes more, probably charges more money than I charge. He charges by the square foot, but pretty much every job he just plans his time around pre-vacuuming. That's part of his point of sale. When his wife fields the calls and sets the appointments up, it does set him apart because there's not a lot of carpet cleaners that will pre-vacuum. As far as, I go, trying to do a 9 a.m. and 11 and a 1 o'clock so I can be home in the evening. And sometimes, like today's jobs this was actually 9 rooms. And the one before, this was 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms and a half set of stairs. And the last one was 9 rooms. So on average, it takes me about 30 minutes of rooms, but can take me quite a while. And if you factor in vacuuming, I definitely would have to charge more than what I charge now, so that I could continue to make the same income. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll pull the vacuum out if it just needs a once over, and I show up to a job and I know I can pre-vacuum. I can do 8 rooms in about 15 minutes, as long as they're not real bad. But when you have to pull the grout brush out and edge it to get all the hair and crap out of the wall boards, and then dust it, and then you have to pick up the debris. I use a commercial sanitaire, and so the vacuum, it's a direct feed right through the motor, through the center, not a side feed. So if I was to pick up those plastic pieces and all that, the money and the jewelry, it would ruin my vacuum. So that's why. And if I tried to pick up the individual pieces by hand, it would have took me 2 hours. I mean, can you imagine bending over and picking up one item at a time? So I had to borrow his broom and a dustpan, and all that takes time. So that, required an additional fee. But like I said, I normally ask people to pre-vacuum, but sometimes I get there and I see that their vacuum doesn't work that great, although they put the effort in to try to vacuum it. I'll pull my vacuum out and go over it 10-15 minutes. No biggie, no extra fee. So chime in the comments. Let me know, what do you guys do? If you're a carpet cleaning technician, do you just build it into your price? Plan on vacuuming every job you show up to? Or do you ask the client to vacuum and then evaluate when you get there? So, and like you could see, this job, they're fully prepared. It makes life easy for me. I can focus on getting these carpets nice and clean, spend that extra quality time letting the rotary do its job in areas where it may need a little extra attention. I don't have to rush to get to the next job to stay on schedule, because I show up and there's a surprise 45-minute additional amount of work. Boy, that baby sounds nice, don't it? I carry the Mighty, the ECO 14. That's a 1.5 horsepower. The big chrome floor machine. I'll use that usually on commercial jobs or real heavily soiled. If it's something that looks like, if it looks like it should have had a steam cleaner there, or I should have loaded my steam cleaner to clean it, then I'll definitely pull out the Mighty, and I'll give it a little extra pre-spray and do a dual process with the Mighty. I'll use a white 3M pad, go over all the areas that are heavily soiled. And then I'll come back with a Iron Man, or now I've been using, I bought some 17-inch microfibers, the same as these. Here's the Koblenz. Check out that handle. It's not in my way. It's just hooked right down there. You know, you got a little 4-inch lever. You'd have to bend down if you didn't have this on there. This just fits on snugly. No bolts, no screws. Made life easy on me. Here's the little half set of stairs. I did those by hand. And what I mean by that is I pre-sprayed them. I used my drill and the white brush, scrubbed them. And I used a microfiber mitt and just hand went over all the edges and the faceplate, bullnose, dried them up real good. And of course I'll come back and I use the brush to groom. Here's the finished work downstairs in that big basement. Looking fantastic. And I did brush in some of those triangles. This is a lower pile nylon carpet, so it's not going to show real deep triangles, and I will say, boy, I was kind of beat doing the 3 jobs today with my brush. And I've heard Robin from Oxy-Dry say he doesn't use a grooming brush because he thinks it's easier to vacuum, and I agree. I just wish that my vacuums wouldn't clog up, you know, with moisture. I don't know why they do that, but it would have been a lot nicer to plug it in and then just post vacuum, because by the end of the day, my gosh, pushing that brush back and forth to get these triangles in all these big homes was just a murderous task. And that's the back there on the left, that doorknob, that goes out to the garage. That's where I am parked. I came through there. So I'm just gonna show you the other rooms. This one here came out beautiful. Had to use a little extra solution, so it is still damp in some of the darker areas where the desk was. That'll all dry a lot lighter. And the second room, they had a couple things in there that I actually post sprayed with Go Oxy. And the Go Oxy, I think it's a 15% hydrogen peroxide was stabilizer. So post sprayed that over to the right under the desk, and that should lighten up as well. Overall, looking good. So that was my day today, and I just figured I'd share the 2 jobs with you, since the first job didn't have much detail work in it, and I was going to post that one during my lunch, and I thought, I didn't show any work. I'll try and see what I can do on the second job for anyone that's interested in watching the Koblenz in action. So there you have it, and I am booked solid this week. I mean solid. It's a huge money week, which is good for me, but a lot of work, and I'm working alone. So stay tuned for some future videos coming soon, like tomorrow during my lunch hour. Appreciate you all watching my videos. I love it when you comment. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so. Don't forget to smash the bell so you'll get notified when I have new videos.